Hello there, my thrifty friends. Ken here, your thrifty apprentice, and welcome to the 15th. It's halfway through the month, guys, and we are tackling another Inktober prompt. The prompt for today is a dagger, and I decided it would be the perfect time for me to try out my tattoo design skills. So I sketched out a dagger with a butterfly behind it on a scratched piece of paper, which will be available as a traceable on Patreon for those Patreon users. I transferred it into my Inktober sketchbook, and now I'm using my super black fine liners by Creative Mark from Jerry's Autorama to just ink in the outline of the sketch. You guys forgive me, you saw a little bit on my face there. Kind of had to get over my project in order to make sure that I was fine lining the right way. Now I'm going to jump in and start designing this butterfly. So what I did was I looked up a reference of a moth butterfly on Google, and I came across a yellow and black one that I thought would be really great, which helped set the color scheme for this project. I knew that purple would go well with yellow because they're opposites and they kind of make each other shine. And then I went along with blue as well because I know it would be a great complement to the purple color. Now, jumping back into inking in everything, I am just kind of sketching out the designs I saw in the reference photo on the butterfly because I thought that that would be so beautiful on this composition. And as you can see, the majority of this composition is actually going to be ink. It is mostly all ink. Now, I am going to be accenting this with washes of watercolor. And today I will be using the Artwell 24 half pan watercolor set that I am testing, sent to me by Artwell for review, which will be coming up before Inktober is over with. Don't you guys worry. So I am using that one just to give it a little bit more testing. Now here I'm continuing to design and kind of ink out the design inside the butterfly wings. I thought it was so kind of hypnotic, so to speak. I really loved those designs, and I did a pretty decent job. I didn't exactly copy the reference photo, but I did want it to kind of, resemble the butterfly that I was looking at. Sorry, guys, can't share their reference photo. It was something I Googled, not even sure if it was royalty free. Just kind of used it to jump off the idea for designing the butterfly. Now I am designing the hilt of the, yeah, that's called the hilt of the dagger, and just continuing to, ink in things that I needed to. Afterwards, I grabbed the Artwell watercolors, and I started off by going in with the medium yellow that was in the set. And if you don't know what I mean, then if you have two yellows in your set, you want to go for the one that looks more like the sun, not for the one that looks more like a lemon. And I am just basing in with the watery layer the wings of the butterfly that was a permanent ink, so I didn't have to worry about it running, which was really good as I worked on this composition with watercolors. I jumped in afterwards and I mixed burnt sienna and ultramarine blue together in order to get the grays that I was going to be working with. Now this is a dagger, and I did want it to look like there was metal. So I am going to be trying to pull off a bit of a metal effect. Hopefully it was successful. I mean, the composition overall was a little challenging simply because I've never designed a tattoo before. Never even drawn out one. And then, of course, getting the dagger sketched right was a challenge as well because something else. I've drawn like table knives and pocket knives, but this was the first time I ever attempted to design a dagger. I wanted to make sure that it did have jewels on the hilt so it would look kind of fancy and match the fact that there was a butterfly sort of being used as its background. Now I'm taking that same yellow, that second yellow, and I'm going mixing it with just a little bit of, I want to say that's cad orange, just to give it a bit of a darker hue. And that's what I did, or used, should I say, to base in the shadows around each one of the segments of those butterfly wings. A really watery wash of the gray tone that I made up went down as the first layer on the blade and on the hilt, the beginning of the hilt, and it's also going to go down on the little V section because before all is said and done, I'm actually going to paint a loose rose right there. Yep, you heard me, loose. Can you believe it? Me. As a matter of fact, the next video coming up after this one will be a little bit of a break from Inktober, where I'm going to be working on loose flowers for the first time on the channel. So I definitely invite you guys to come on back over and watch the next video that comes out on the channel. What you see me doing here, getting back to the actual sketching, is doing the opposite side where I'm outlining the shadows in with that yellow. And basically, I'm just taking that darker tone and going right across the black lines. I have to say, those super black pens are not joking about being super black, because typically when you use black to ink first and you go in with the watercolor, even if it's transparent, you still do begin to see maybe just a very small film on it. But these pens stood the test of time. I really, really like these pens, especially when it comes to ink and wash. So you're going to see me go back and forth between the wing and doing the metal part on the hilt in the actual sword, not sword, dagger itself. Now the two balls on the end and the so basically you got a blue jewel with a little design going through it. You have a metal plate. Then you have another blue jewel with black lines going through it diagonally. And then at the very top, you have sort of a diamond, half diamond shaped jewel. So all of those, I'm going to try my best to make look as round as possible. And I am going to try to make the middle part look shiny. May not necessarily succeed, but I'm definitely going to attempt to do that. Here I'm basing in the second tone of gray. So basically, I made a gray out of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, watered it down. That's how I got my lightest gray tone. Then I used that same mixture with less water for the medium gray tone, and then with even less water to get the black that I'm using mixed from the paint other than the actual fine line pen. Now, I guess I could have used a super black pen to actually put in the really sharp reflective shadows on the metal, but I decided to use the paints because we are testing them. I want to test to make sure that they're mixing cleanly and that all those good things, all of the good things that you would expect from a set of watercolors, regardless of whether they're budget or professional. We just have certain expectations. So that's the different things that I'm testing for. This was more of a mixing test than anything. So you guys see there, I'm actually painting in a loose rose right there. I felt like it added such, I don't know, it kind of elevated the dagger design just a little bit. Now here I'm using the same purple that I've used for the jewel on the end, and I'm going in and splattering that across the wings so that it'll look like spots. And then I picked some more of that purple paint up and just kind of dotted little dots here and there. Now we've moved on to doing the actual highlighting. And once I get through with the highlighting, that's going to wrap it up. So that gives me time to say goodbye to you guys at this point. So we're reaching the end of the video. If you've seen anything that you like, or just like hanging out with me for another day of Inktober, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you're returning and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Guys, hit that notification bell so you'll know that the new content when it's coming out. You won't miss any of it. You can check the video description for all of the relevant links. It's going to give you the Facebook group, Paints, Pencils, Pastels, and Markers, Patreon and Etsy links. And remember, just keep painting and crafting.